Welcome to another episode of The Read Pile. It's been a few weeks since I've shot one of these because I've been reading this giant thing. And let's see if I remember how to do this. This is, I believe, 36 issues of content, if my math is correct. It is 3 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and then 31 issues of Superior Spider-Man. And then there's a couple of annuals thrown in there as well. I show up if there's a Peter dying. This is surprisingly still in shrink wrap. I think I read this digitally. I don't remember. But this is also great, by the way. And in my head, Peter's dead in both universes. Dan Slott writes the bulk of this, but Gage winds up writing the end of it, which I will definitely talk about. And then it starts with Stegman. It goes over to Humberto Ramos, and then there are others as well. So, this was published as single issues about 10, 11 years ago, and I heard that it was good. I am a big fan of Spider-Man, but also I'm one of his biggest critics, because I think he's one of certainly Marvel's smartest idiots. For decades, he was broke, but he's supposed to be smart enough to invent web fluid while he's in high school, and yet he decides to make a living as a photographer. And look, life choices, if being a photographer makes you happy, that's fine, but you're setting yourself up for failure. If your concern is money, you have an option to make money that you're not pursuing. It's just an idiot. So that's one of my biggest longtime complaints is Peter is kind of an idiot, and this addresses a bunch of those issues. So I was not reading. I wasn't reading Slott's run. I hear that it is good overall. I checked in at one point at random during Spider Island, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So I checked back out, and I don't know all of the characters that have been set up in the decades since I stopped reading Amazing Spider-Man, but there's enough context that I, could pick up what was being laid down here. So Carly and Wraith and who else? There she is. There's Carly. Hey, cop. Wraith. Everyone gets enough establishing introductory stuff that, I can figure out what was going on. Aunt May is married now to Jonah's dad, and that's interesting. The point is, I could come into this knowing relatively nothing. I mean, I know Spider-Man, clearly. I know his usual cast of characters, but I didn't need any specific outside knowledge in order to jump into this, and it was fun. It was great, and so like I said, what this is, I'll address it. Spoilers for a 10 or 11-year-old storyline, but Otto winds up taking over. Otto Octavius, Doctor Octavius, winds up taking over Peter Parker's body. So it's Otto's mind inside Peter's body, and he refers to himself as the Superior Spider-Man because he believes he's smarter and he's going to do things better. And initially, he's correct. And by the end, things fall apart, and that's part of where I have a problem with this. It starts great. Maybe the first 3/4 of it is brilliant stuff. And then it kind of peters out. And the ending feels rushed. And at times I was thinking about Invincible, which I think did just an amazing job of juggling A, B, and C plots. You'd have A plot on a per issue basis, and then you'd get these lingering advancement on B and C plots that would eventually become A plots, but they'd be simmering in the background until they come to a boil. And it was just really well done. And this, I would say, you get the usual A plot episode or issue stuff. And then B plot, I think, would be all of the Green Goblin stuff in the background, and C plot is Peter Parker's return. And initially, there's about 6 or 8 issues, I think, of Peter basically as a ghost in Otto's head, sort of talking to him, trying to talk to him, but not being heard, at least most of the time. And then Otto realizes Peter is still in his head, and he goes in and exorcises him. But Peter's still there, and I don't remember if it's shown immediately. I think it is hinted at immediately, and then it's you don't see it again for quite a while before it comes back up again. But that type of stuff, the ending feels rushed. And what Otto does, he does a lot of really smart, interesting, good things, and then some incredibly stupid, creepy and violent and horrible things as well. But some of the smart things he does. So Peter, before all this, was working at Horizon Labs. So he was actually using his brain, which, love it. Otto makes a bunch of spider bots that patrol the city, and there are definite privacy issues that get brought up within the storyline. But he's monitoring the whole city for crime, and he takes out a bunch of the usual crime lords. Because of these spider bots, he's able to track them down and go to where they are. That's all great. The new suit does look cool. I think he gets 2 different suits. But I do like the new suit too. I don't like the lenses. Sort of beveled edge. It's the one thing I don't like. Another big thing is Otto gets Peter his doctorate, which I didn't realize Peter didn't have, but I guess that also makes sense because he was never really organized and it was neglecting his life. But initially, Otto is doing a fantastic job of juggling Peter's life, being Spider-Man, and he falls down on the professional aspect, but he is doing schoolwork. And it's like Otto kind of is the superior Spider-Man initially, and then Goblin starts to come to the forefront of the storyline, and a bunch of stuff falls apart. So another thing Otto does is he starts Parker Industries. So Peter has his own company at that point, sort of like Horizon, but that's a whole thing. Something happened there. And right after it started, Peter winds up neglecting Parker Industries. So it's like, you were doing a great job before you had your doctorate. You have more time now, and somehow you're falling down on everything. And like, there's not really an explanation for what is consuming Otto's time as much, and I don't know. Oh, Cardiac shows up. Cardiac's a favorite of mine. So I don't know. Like, it starts out brilliantly, and it kind of... Oh, Venom shows up at one point. That was amazing. I loved that. And then you briefly get Superior Venom. Like, that's horrifying. A bunch of Hobgoblin stuff, and I have an idea for what the next Scream movie should be based on Hobgoblin stuff in here, but I think instead of being 1, 2, or 3 killers, you have one mastermind killer that is franchising out. He's loaning out the costume, knives, whatever, to anyone that wants them. I think that should be Scream 7, 8, 9, whatever. Anyway, so it's... I don't know. It starts amazingly. I don't know if he didn't know how to end it. He plotted something, and then Christos Gage came in and finished it, which I feel is very strange. But it's... I'm glad that I read this, but it is somewhat overshadowed by the ending, which I don't think is as strong as the beginning. And the art is also not as strong. So it's finished off by Carmen Coley? There's a panel in particular where May's face is just horrifying. This panel here where May's face is just... oof. God. She's his aunt, not great-grandmother. Holy cow. So anyway, yeah, the fact that the original creators aren't there at the end is, I think, kind of a letdown, but Common Coley is certainly no Ramos or Stegman, and the Superior Spider-Man is coming back. My understanding is there was an idea that Otto had while in Peter's body, and now that he's back in his own body, don't try to explain it, I don't care. He can't figure out whatever he came up with before, so now he's going back into Peter's body and he's going to be a Superior Spider-Man again. I'm mildly interested, but also kind of wary. I don't know. This is good. I'm glad that I got it. I'm not sure that it's worth $125, but it is good. Yeah, $125, that's a lot of money. But it's also kind of disappointing. And the whole thing with Green Goblin, I think, is he's supposed to be the equivalent of Batman's Joker, and I don't know that he is. In my head, Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery is more diversified. They're more an even playing field. Then, I don't think Green Goblin is above the rest. But, I don't know. This seems to indicate that he is. I think other people do believe that, and it's just not my opinion. So anyway. It's good. It's also kind of a letdown, but I'm glad that I read it. It will go on my shelf with the other Spider stuff, and I need to clean that and do a little bit of rearranging, so I'll take this opportunity to do that as well. But it's good. It is recommended, and I'm curious. I haven't signed up for it yet, but Superior Spider-Man is coming back from Slott, and I think Stegman is at least doing covers. I don't know if he's doing interiors as well. Whatever the case, I'm curious. I'm not committed. We'll see how it goes.